I'm Julie Herman of Jaybird Quilts, and welcome to the Fussy Cut Rock Candy Sew Along. Rock Candy is one of my favorite patterns. We've done this sew along before, but this year we're going to focus on fussy cutting. I have recently come out with the new Jaybird Quilts Fussy Cut shapes. 6 shapes in here, and included is the diamond, the essential shape for rock candy, and the triangle, which is the other shape you use with rock candy. And what these are going to allow you to do is to take those amazing novelty fabrics and feature them just like this, so that in your finished piece, you'll be able to have these awesome little creatures or shapes or letters or whatever it is that you choose to fussy cut. Today, we're going to start with fabric selection to maximize your fussy cutting abilities. Sign up to receive the sew along emails and worksheets at the link posted in the video description below. Let's get started. There's many options of fabric to select from when fussy cutting for a rock candy table topper. Some things to keep in mind are the size of the pieces, so some fabrics are going to work better than others. Now I have decided I'm going to use Tula Pink's Tiny Beasts in mine, and I'll go over how I decided that, and I'm going to show you some other Tula Pink collections and talk about which ones would work well or wouldn't work well and why. So the first thing to think about is actually the background. I know that kind of seems a little reverse, but keep in mind for the background, you're going to want something that is going to have high contrast off of your pieces that you're fussy cutting. You're going to work so hard to do all the cutting that you really want them to shine. So I suggest picking something for the background that is definitely more of a blender. And your background is primarily going to be made up of triangles unless you do a different layout like me. And in that case, you're going to have some diamonds as well. So you can take your triangle piece and audition it. And so I think this one would be great, and this is what I'm going to use. This would be great. This fabric from Parisville Deja Vu would work really well. And this is Moon Garden. And I think the blue would work well, and I think the yellow. I'm not sure about this one. I think there's just too much contrast. So I think that one might kind of like steal the show. And I want the pieces that I'm going to work so hard to fussy cut to steal the show, not a background. Let's see, what else do I have? I've got some Tula Pink Daydreamer. And this is an interesting choice because I think this could work depending on where you do the cutting. You know, if you're going to feature an animal, then it's going to draw the eye to the background. But if you do your fussy cutting primarily in the background of these dots, I think it would work. So keep in mind background options. You don't have to make a 100% decision, I'm definitely going to work with this or this, but it's something to think about while you are choosing all of your fabrics, is what do you think your background is going to be, because it is going to play a strong role in your overall piece. When it comes to your feature prints, there's a lot of things to consider. Specifically with this, scale is where we want to be thinking. So let me fold some of these out of the way. The diamond works really well with Tula Pink Tiny Beasts because of the scale of the prints. These are much smaller than her average print. She tends to design amazing large things. But I can fit the raccoon and I can fit them vertically, horizontally, in different directions, which there are 3 different directions to consider with rock candy, and we'll go over that in our next video when we actually get into the cutting. But this print specifically and this print really have so much possibility. And then there are some like this deer where I'm going to have to get a little more creative. I might lose part of the ear or might have to turn it a little bit, but I still can get that in. So I'm going to show you an example of something that might not work as well. So let's grab this one. So Moon Garden, which is in stores now. Most of these are in stores now, or recently I tried to pull things that you can hopefully get a hold of. This snake is gorgeous and worked really well when I did fussy cutting for Delight, but it's just not going to be ideal for this. You're just going to get a snake head. Maybe that's what you want, and you could do that. Or you could decide to use this for the flowers, but keep in mind you're going to lose the overall snake, and if you start fussy cutting different parts of the snake, it's not going to have the same impact as cutting this into a large diamond. But you could get something interesting here like this flower. So that's another thing to think about, is you look at this and you immediately see the snake, but there is a lot of other space going on as well. So let's see, what else? Moon Garden was very large. So we also have like this owl print. And again, this worked really well for Delight because it's super big. And in this, we're just going to get the face. And maybe that's enough. You know, it's actually working better than I think I expected. And so you could just do the face. It's probably a good way to use up the leftover pieces. Do I have any? Oh, I could maybe do it over here. So there's where I did Delight. And I could do this one over here. Maybe I will do that. So that is a possibility. And again, you also have like the moon and the floral things. So your fussy cut shapes really work great for auditioning your fabric and testing things out so that you can say this one works, this one doesn't work. So here's the birds. This would work really well. That's going to fit in there. Great. I think I was just going to do this to match the one I already made and make the same one, but now I'm considering tossing in some other stuff and changing it up. We'll see what I decide to do. But these birds, this is a good one. So I think I'm actually going to leave this over here in my right stack of things that would work well. This is from Daydreamer, I think. Yeah. And these butterflies are great because they're nice and they're small. Now, they don't perfectly fit in here, at least not some of them. You're going to kind of lose parts of the wings. But one thing to think about is they are so dense in where they're spaced that you are going to often get a piece of another one. And that may or may not bother you to have a hint of another butterfly. So like say I wanted to get this one, I'm going to have pieces of other butterflies in it. So depending on what you want your eye drawn to, keep in mind what is going on with the background. An option that has like a little more background space is this, the macaw. And in this one we can, where did I lose my piece? There we go. We can get the head and a whole wing, and I can kind of slide it as over as far as I can. And we'll lose like the tail and the other wing, but that's a good option. Or you could kind of go up this way and get a little bit of each of the wings. So sometimes even when something is larger than the piece, it can still work. You just have to decide what part, if it's an animal, what part you're cutting off, so forth and so on. Let's take a look at this one. You can see my fabrics are often kind of Swiss cheesy because I've done a lot of fussy cutting. I just leave them like that so that I have as much left. So like this is what I have left over here, and this would actually work. I could get the little, oh, that's really cute. Now I think I have to do that. That's so cute, and it even gets a little heart in there. I was thinking with this one, since they're so big, because you wouldn't get the whole body, I was thinking about this little shrimp dude. And fussy cutting him, which, oh, I still might do. He's really stinking cute. And you get the 3 flowers in there. I really love when there are prints like this that are not necessarily exact mirror, but you can see there's a vertical line and some parts of it are mirrored, and then there's something here. And you can center this because then you get like this balance of the exact pieces on either side. It's something that makes for a really cool design. So I think I'm going to leave this one over here as well. So something that might not work as well is something that's actually too small. So this Forbidden Fruit from Daydreamer, it's almost too small. You could get 2 pieces of fruit in. You can't get, maybe you can get 3, but what it does, I feel, and this is very personal, you could love this, I feel that it's not doing enough. It's not, in a piece where I'm focusing on fussy cutting, it's not taking enough advantage of the shape. Maybe if you wanted this as your background, you could fussy cut a tiny little piece into each one of the triangles. That could actually be really cute. Maybe I'll try and do that. See? It's me thinking on the go. So this is another possibility of something where I think it's going to work better with a different shape. I just don't think it's going to work as well with the diamond. It's really hard to get 1. You're going to get little pieces. And when it's 2, it just doesn't seem that interesting. But with the triangle, it might work. See, this is what happens when I'm working live and unplanned, I should say, not planned. Just pulled out a whole lot of fabrics and said, let's go for it and see what happens. This is a little bit older. This is Tula Pink All Stars. And this is a bumblebee, and I love this. And I think this would work really well for Candy Dish, which is what we're doing soon. But I don't think it would work great for rock candy, because when you cut it down to this, like, you're not even sure what it is. When you lose the wings of this creature, you really just don't know what it is. And so I think this is a no, and that's okay. It's okay that some things work and other things don't. That doesn't mean that they're not a good fabric. It just means they're not a good fabric for this project. This is another one from All Stars. This has these little, I think they're the squirrels, not the chipmunks. I think these are the squirrels. That might work. It's going to work better than I thought it was going to work, because you can't get both of them. You can't get the whole body. But this, as opposed to the bee, when you go down, you can still kind of tell what kind of creature it is. I don't think I'm going to use it, just because I don't think it's working as well with everything else. But I mean, you could work on a flower, but I like it when there's a little more background to be around the flowers. Let's see, this is another one from All Stars, and this is originally in Plume. And we could go up here and get the bird, or we could do, there's some really nice flowers. That could be really nice. So there's just a lot of trial and error and a lot of play. And one thing that I recommend while you're doing this, because you can easily get mixed up, there's so many fabrics, what did I put in this pile, that pile? Have your cell phone handy and go ahead and snap photos. So just take your phone like this. Let me get mine and be like, okay, there's that, snap. And then maybe I was thinking about it on the bird and snap. And then what you can do is you can go through your camera roll and you can see all the different possibilities before you start cutting the fabric. Because sometimes I'll come back to something and I'll be like, what did I want to cut from this? Certain things are obvious. You know, this raccoon print, it's pretty obvious I want the raccoons. But when you have something like this that has different possibilities, or this that has the little shrimp and the flamingos, you might not remember. So your cell phone is one of your greatest tools. I feel like it's pretty universal that most of us have cell phones now, and they have cameras. If not, you have a digital camera most likely, and they really are handy to just capture the moment. You can take as many pictures you want, you can delete them later, but they really are good to have to go back to reference. Okay, moving on. This is one I talked about in the beginning, that it might work for the background with the triangles, but I also, if I wasn't doing that, I think this would look great to get one of these faces and part of the animal. This is definitely not going to be the star. It's not as high contrast as some of the others, but it still provides a lot of interest and could be fun. Maybe this profile, I think this profile one actually would look almost the best, because actually no, I thought it would, but I think it's this one looking over its shoulder. Yeah, I think that's the one. So again, get out my phone, quickly snap a little picture so that I have that to go back to and to reference. All right, let's see, what else do I have? So I pulled out some of Parisville, Deja Vu, and this is going to show you something that I really don't think works well for this. This print, I think that would be well fussy cut for things, but within the diamond, I mean, you can kind of get a couple of the little mice in the flower, but I don't think that's as strong of a piece. Now, if you want to use this fabric, I do suggest fussy cutting it, because if you don't, you're going to get, you know, some pieces that are mostly pink, some that are mostly this, that. So definitely do fussy cut it if you wanted to use something like this, but keep in mind that it's just not necessarily as strong of a print as some of our other options. But this one I think would work well. So this is the ships. Oh yeah, that would look great. So again, this is the one that kind of has a vertical line of symmetry, and it's not exact because the ship sails are all kind of going that way, but the background is a nice mirror, so I would line that up vertically to keep that there. A little bit of white at the top, a little bit of white at the bottom, and then go ahead and have those ships. So go ahead, pull some fabrics from your stash and kind of audition things. Play around, see what you like, decide, nope, don't just want the frog head, but I do want the bumblebee, or this fabric isn't going to work, and select your fabrics. I originally had planned on using these 8 with my green polka dotted as a background, which is the first Fussy Cut rock candy that I made. I was just going to make the exact one again, but after showing you some of these other fabrics today, I think I'm going to mix it up and toss in some of those as well. So I will be back here in a few days to show you how we do our actual fussy cutting of our fabrics. Thanks for tuning in here today. If this video was helpful, please leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to this channel. On this channel, you'll find links to all of the Jaybird Quilts Fussy Cut Shape videos and some of my other sew-alongs that you might like. Sign up to receive the sew-along emails and worksheets at the link posted in the video description below. See you soon!